Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here. Grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with somebody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, let's get into it, guys. So today, right back to the Just for Today NA meditation, which is entitled "The Shape of Our Thoughts." By shaping our thoughts with spiritual ideals, we are freed to become who we want to be. Addiction shaped our thoughts in its own way. Whether their shape Whatever their shape may have once been, they become misshapen. Once our disease took full sway over our lives, our obsession with drugs self molded our moods, our actions, the very shape of our lives. Each spiritual ideal of our recovery program serves to straighten out one or another of the kinks in our thinking. All that developed in our active addiction. Denial is counteracted by admission, secretiveness by honesty, isolation by fellowship, and despair by faith in the loving God. The spiritual ideals we find in recovery are restoring the shape of our thoughts and our lives to the natural condition. And what is the natural condition? It is the condition we seek for ourselves, a reflection of our highest dreams. How do we know this? How do we know this? Because our thoughts are being shaped in recovery by spiritual principles we find in developing our relationship with the God of our understanding. No longer does addiction shape our thoughts. Today, our lives are being shaped by recovery and by our loving God. The affirmation is, just for today, I will allow spiritual ideals to shape my thoughts. In that design, I will find the shape of my higher power. And guys, there's a lot that we can touch on in this one, and that's huge, guys. You got to understand. I talk about this, and this is something I believe, and it's something I've absolutely witnessed and experienced in my life, which is literally why I back this and I talk about this on pretty much every single video. My thinking and actions, due to my thinking, were what caused all the misery in my life, and that was a hard pill to swallow until and except for the fact that today it is so incredibly different. And I understand that where my energy goes, where my attention goes, energy flows, right? So I try to stick. I try to be. It's not even try. I am incredibly positive, guys, because I'm loving the results that I'm getting. I learned early on that I have a huge, huge, kind heart. That's just it's one of my strengths, and it's one of the things I enjoy about myself. So I've leaned into that, and I've challenged myself to step up constantly. And I found as I did this, guys, doors of opportunities were just swinging open in ways that were shocking, amazing, like things I never dreamed could ever happen have happened in the 6 7 months that I've been that I've been working my sobriety program, and it's only getting better and better. So I realized early on that the more positive I remained, the more introspective I was, the more attention I paid to every little thing that I thought, that I said, every action that I took. And then I just literally had to step out of my comfort zone and just follow what I knew was right. And I've been leaning into that internal guidance system I talk about all the time, which is basically my higher self, my relationship with God. Before I act, I've stopped and digested what was going on, play the tape through. So I've thought about what are the consequences of what I'm about to do. Is this an old me or a new me? And I loved the new me. I buried the old me. And because I've been doing this day in and day out, it has now gotten to be that is where in the beginning, it was like I had to literally do everything that was opposite of my natural reaction. Today, though I'm not perfect and I'm getting better all the time, my reactions are more often than not proper now. Like I just go through the motions now and I find myself making good decisions. And I still surprise myself all the time, guys. But that's getting to be where my natural thought pattern goes to what's best for you, what's best for me. How can I do something to make everything around us better? How can I what of the variables I have in front of me, what's for the highest good of everybody involved instead of just being selfish and taking. Now that being said, don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not giving away what I need. I'm filling my cup first because I understand I can do so much good, so much more good from a position of having everything that I need. And I won't do anything before I take care of my needs first because that's my responsibility. My biggest responsibility is to myself and to my God, and to show my God that I love Him for everything He's given me by doing everything I can to further my cause, to make myself better, to put myself in a better position, to help other people around me, and just to show the faith and show, take the leaps of faith. I've gotten to the point now where, like, every time I see an opportunity like that used to freak me out, I get so excited because I understand, even though I have no idea what's on the other side of that leap, I trust fully that I'm going to be caught in the most beautiful ways, and I'm going to land in a position to learn something new that is positive for my life. In the past, all my life lessons came the hard way, guys, because I did everything the hard way, because I ran amok with my free will. I don't do that today. I turn my will over to God. And again, call yours what, call your higher power what you will. I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form. And I will never sit there and try and tell you that my definition's proper, because I'm learning every day. My definition changes every day, and that's beautiful. That's part of why my world is expanding, because I'm actively seeking new definitions of my higher power, of my interactions with the world, of my place in the world on a daily basis. I'm making better and better decisions all the time because I'm taking what I've learned today and I'm applying it tomorrow, and then paying attention tomorrow to see what I can learn in that, in that time of now. Because guys, everything is now. I used to be one that wallowed in the past. I was constantly known for telling these war stories, and I realize now that all I do is put attention on things that I don't want in doing so. And so then I ask for more of those to come into my life, and then I get all frustrated when more of those would come into my life. Guys, you gotta understand, we absolutely do determine our own realities with our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. And all belief is a thought that you're continuing to think. So instead of constantly worrying about the worst case scenario, start expecting the best case scenario. And I'm telling you guys, when you continuously do so, you're gonna find what you seek. So start looking for the good in everything. Looking for the opportunities to better yourself in every situation. I know it sounds silly and it's not easy to get going because momentum. So oftentimes we have momentum. And here's, I heard a great analogy today, guys, I'm going to share. If you're standing at the top of a hill and you accidentally put your car in gear and start rolling it forward, it's a lot easier to jump in front of the car immediately and stop it before it gets momentum going. But if you don't get that done, there's no point in running down the hill to try and get in front of the car that's doing 35 miles an hour and try and stop it with your body. It's not going to happen. The momentum has taken over. You've got to get to a point where you can stop it, let the momentum. Unfortunately, you're going to have to let the car crash and then, deal with it afterwards. But then you start from a fresh perspective of no momentum chasing you the wrong way. And that's why I say all the time, go to rehab, get the help. Because the biggest thing that did for me, guys, for myself, I had so much negative momentum driving my life down in a depressive downward spiral. I stepped out of my life altogether for a month and sat stagnant and started to learn. For the first 12 years, I was literally stagnant. I laid in bed, got up to eat and use the bathroom and pray and go right back to bed. I was absolutely hurting, guys. I was terrified. It was actually really a scary time for me. I thought I'd done so much damage to my body for so long that it wasn't going to come back because I'd never had a detox that was that long and drawn out and hard. But it was off of a long and drawn out hard run, and it was the fentanyl, and it was miserable, right? But and again, I didn't freak out over it. It was a concern I had. So next thing you know, I would pray and I would get the idea that, all right, we'll get up out of bed today and walk the hallway and do some push-ups and do some pull-ups. And little by little, and guys, I was incredibly weak. I could barely do any, but I was doing them. And now here I am 7 months later. I'm bench pressing 295 pounds. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm in the best shape of my life. I look, immensely younger. I'm taking better care of myself. Like I'm, mentally, I'm so much more acute and aware and crisp and clear than I ever have. And I would have thought back then I was pretty decent mechanical wise at that point. But guys, the clarity and the wisdom that I have today, my ability to problem solve is magnetized 1,000 times over, and I didn't think that was possible. But it comes with constantly doing the right thing. I constantly started expecting the best results, and I'm finding them left and right in a shocking rate. It's incredibly beautiful, right? I'm taking leaps of faith because I know I don't have the answers, and I don't have to know that. The most important thing I understood is I don't have to have the answers. I just have to have the next step. And if I do the next right thing for the right reason, not because I think somebody's looking and they're going to reward me for it, But when you do that for yourself because you know it, and the reward is that common decency in your own brain when you realize that you are a good person, you're starting to like the person you are, there's nothing more powerful than that, guys. When you start from that aspect, not because you're trying to impress somebody else, but you're trying to salvage your relationship with yourself, everything else will fall into place. Like, all you've got to worry about is worry about your lane, stay in your lane, help everybody around you, don't get me wrong, but take care of yourself first. Worry about you first. It's you're going down in the airplane. They say put your own oxygen mask on first, because if you run out of breath trying to save somebody else, you're not going to save either one of you, and you're both going to die. Take care of yourself first, but start it with your own thoughts, guys. Understand the power you have in your own thoughts. Nobody's perfect. We're all going to have moments, right? I still have situations that I'm forced to deal with people that are just completely not willing to live in this reality and function from that point. And early on, I was trying so hard to remove as many as possible. And anywhere it was a danger to me, I removed them. But unfortunately, some of those are a fairly small city. Some of the people that I work in conjunction with, are still active addicts, and I understand that, and I stay away from any part of that. But I'm still forced to deal with them in certain situations, and they still come with the same bullshit stories because they're always trying to get something extra because they can't handle their own bullshit, right? And I don't call them out, where necessary I will, but I'll deal with them in the best light possible. But I no longer feel the need to get in a pissing contest with them to show them how good I'm doing. I just do my thing and understand that everything will come out in the wash. And I don't have the time and the energy. I'm not the authority that has to call them out on their bullshit until it directly affects me. The second it starts taking directly from me, then absolutely, and I'll warn them and say, listen, I'm not that person anymore, right? If you continue to come in this angle, I'm going to cover my bases. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, and you're not going to like it. I'm not going to play this game. I'll let you run your mouth all you want. You can live in whatever fantasy world you want, but don't envelop me in it, because the second that you do, by my own self-respect and relationship with my higher power, trying to help those around me, I'm going to have to do what's right. I will not allow you to make me do what's wrong. And more often than not, they back right the fuck off because they're terrified. Because they know I have the courage of my convictions. They've seen me walk the walk. They've seen me turn my life around in the most amazing ways, but I did it through all the hard, uncomfortable stuff early on. I faced every horrible act and situation that I created, because I understand no matter who else was involved with it, I created my part of it, and I have to own my part of it. And everybody that I've wronged, that I've had an opportunity to make right, is so incredibly, been so incredibly receptive to it. They appreciate I've been forgiven, and I've made amends in every situation possible. And those that don't want to deal with, those that don't want to walk in the light and don't want their actions being seen, don't walk beside me anymore, because they now know that that's what I am. I am a light. I'm gonna magnify the bullshit that's going on because I put my whole life out here public. And and not that I'm some big famous person, but I am documenting my journey through recovery here on YouTube and TikTok and my meetings and speaking commitments. And I'm very happy to do so open because I understand my desire to help another with my story, with what I've been through, and share what I've learned. It's just magnetizing beautiful blessings into my life at a shockingly fast pace. It is helping me love the person that I am. And that was my biggest thing, guys. I didn't like the person I saw in the mirror. I hated the person that I'd become, and I didn't think I'd ever be able to fix that relationship. But because I built my relationship with my higher power, and I turned my will over to him, he's put me in situations and allowed myself to take actions that have allowed myself to fall in love with who I am. And every day that goes by, I get that much more confident. I get that much more strong, and it gets that much more easy to make good decisions for the group of everybody, for the bulk of everybody around me. I won't let somebody take advantage, but at the same time, I will give whatever's possible. I'll give you a great, and here's one of the beautiful situations in my life today, guys. A while back, I had bought a Apple gift card for somebody that I was trying to run a scam on me, and I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and last minute, it sure enough proved out to be a scam. I didn't get taken, and I almost, at that point, I knew it was a scam, but I wanted to prove it. I had to get this person to stop bothering me, and the only way I could do so was to call them out on it. So I went and I got the Apple gift card, and when I went to present it, I told them, I said, you got to meet me face to face, and I'll give you this card, because I knew full well they were lying. They were trying to say they were trying to get into a rehab down the street. They weren't even in Massachusetts. They're probably in Nigeria. But in order to end the debate, I went and bought the $100 gift card, and the thing's been kicking around my truck ever since, because the person tried over and over again to get me to hand it to him over the phone, or take a picture and give him the numbers. And I told him, absolutely not. I will hand it to you in person. I will never give a gift card out over online. That gift card's been sitting in my truck for like a month and a half now. Well, the waitress friend of mine was gone missing from the diner recently, and I've been meaning to reach out because I have her phone number. She's become a friend. Well, she showed back up at work yesterday, and I walked in and I was so excited to see my friend. I was so concerned. And I said, I didn't want to be appropriate, but I wanted to reach out. And she said, oh my God, I wish you would have reached out. I would have been so happy to hear from you. I said, well, now I know, but I didn't want to be, inappropriate. She's a female and she's younger, of age, obviously, mid-20s, but I'm 52. And anyway, so she's doing some artwork for me, and I figured, I know she has an iPhone, and I thought, well, I'll hold on to the gift card. When she's done with the artwork, I'll give that to her as a gift for doing me the favor. Well, I realized today that she's been out of work for almost a month. She's got to be probably tight on funds. So when I went in this morning, I walked in and I handed it to her. And she said, what is this? I said, well, what's it say in the thing? She says, gift card. I said, well, that's what it is. It's a card and it's a gift. And the look on her face, I thought she was going to cry. She looked so, she was literally emotional over it. And just, again, the thing was sitting in my truck, and I'm in a position where I spent the $100 2 months ago. I'm not going to try and recoup it. I don't care. I figured I could give it to somebody somewhere along the line. But it was a beautiful opportunity to let somebody know that I was concerned with where they've been. I was paying attention to what's going on. And I know that if you've been out of work taking care of personal stuff for a month, you've got to be tight on money if you weren't out making money. And I'm telling you, I almost brought a waitress to tears today over a simple $100 gift card. But it made me feel good. Like, these are the things I'm allowed to do today because I'm not blowing my money on drugs and I'm not being taken advantage of by scams. I have enough self-respect to stick up for myself, and then I'm giving enough that I see an opportunity where I know I can help somebody, and I'm going to uplift their day, and it's only $100. It's not going to make or break her, but you know what? She was happy. Like, literally, the joy that was radiating from her from that little gift absolutely made me so incredibly happy, and this is the things I get to do in my life today, guys, and it means everything to me, because when I come home at night, I lay down at night, it's me and my God that are here, and all of us are happy. Guys, always remember, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one.